Hello everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Annual General Meeting, from wherever you are joining us. As this meeting is virtual, we do not have the usual emergency procedures, but just a few things to note. Firstly, I confirm that today's meeting is quorate. We are audio recording this meeting to enable us to support the minutes. You will be able to ask questions using the function on your screen. Do pose questions as we go through. We will pause at 3 points during the proceedings to respond to the questions that we have received. Just a note on voting. If you have already voted online and wish to vote during the AGM, that's perfectly okay. You will need to have to hand the email from UK Engage sent to you on Monday, the 28th of September, so that you can get access to the voting platform. We have received one formal apology from Steve Gladwin. Today, you'll be hosted by me, Martin Bell, Chair of Iwfm, Linda House-Mannis, CEO, and I welcome Paul Ash, Non-Executive Director and Chair of the Finance Committee, to give the finance update in the absence of Catherine Gowers, who can't be with us for family reasons. The agenda for today is shorter, but it will be the same as usual. However, we've had to keep the updates slightly shorter to fit everything into this virtual format. A reminder on the questions. We want this to be as engaging as possible, so please do make sure you put your questions in the question box. Any we don't get to, we will look to be answering and posting to the website afterwards. This is IWFM's first virtual AGM. I hope it will be an interesting and interactive session. Last week, we held our first virtual conference, a week-long programme very aptly themed, Navigating Turbulent Times. In 10 days, we'll host our first ever online IWFM Impact Awards. What a year it is turning out to be. It's been something of a cliche to use the words extraordinary or unprecedented, but their truth has not been diminished by overuse. 2020 has been anything but routine. I'm not in the habit of stating the obvious, but the reason I underline this today is to remind you that today's AGM is not about 2020, but about 2019. We would normally have held this session 3 months ago, but extraordinary times mean that we were a little bit later this year. It's 15 months since my predecessor, Stephen Roots, stood before you at the Riley factory at Hoxton Square in June 2019. Steve used his address to recount the development of the 2 momentous years under his chairmanship and the groundwork that had led to those changes. I think it's worth taking a moment to trace the arc of the journey so that we have the context of assessing where we are now as we look to the future. So, a brief recap. 2017. This marked the beginning of the post-Stoddard era. The workplace opportunity was real, and here was an industry in transition with a serious chance to influence workplace effectiveness. 2018 was defined by transition, a new name, a new brand, a new ambition to become a chartered body. 2019 has been about the focus of our core purpose and consolidating all the changes we've made, and that is what I'm going to focus on today. 2020 has been about far many things, including a deep focus on reaching out and listening to our members, creating value through excellent content and engagement, but that's for next year's address. We are only at the beginning, but we have taken a giant step. That was Steve Root's closing remarks last time, reflecting on 2018, and it's where I'd like to start by picking up today. Steve envisions that the coming years will be about continuous improvement, consolidation, and growth. For me, the overall theme of 2019 has been about consolidation, which has encapsulated continuous improvement as well as growth and adaptation. Let's look at the 2019 operating context. There was only one word on everyone's minds and lips last year, and that was Brexit. As a direct result of the seemingly endless debate about an exit strategy, one feeling dominated: uncertainty. We saw caution in decision-making at all levels and caution in spending behaviour of our customers and partners, especially on any spend that might count as non-essential. The Institute had to respond innovatively and creatively, both in retaining and attracting income in areas that would have previously been taken for granted. Our 2019 Outlook survey echoed our own experience. It told us that the market was still reverberating from the economic shocks of 2018, but yet a tentative optimism was in the air. The optimism included the forthcoming technological changes, widely and with foresight as things have turned out, as regarded as an opportunity, apprenticeships and the national living wage. The negatives, alongside Brexit and the general state of the UK economy, including skills and upskilling. One other thing that pushes me on is this commitment to keep driving the Institute forwards so that in turn it can drive the profession forwards. While 2019 operating environment was challenging, the watchwords at Iwfm were continuous improvement. The investment in technology and the new systems that took place in 2017 and continued in 2018 were further improved as the final parts of the rebrand locked into place and the website underwent minor but very meaningful enhancements. These systems upgrades might seem small or sound boring, but the effects of better integration are significant in terms of improving the overall service we offer to members and customers and building our overall business efficiency. Had we not made those key investments in technology back in 2018, we would have been in a very different place in 2020 when the lockdown happened and we became a fully remote operation overnight without skipping a beat. The other key area we've improved in 2019 was that our insights capabilities have made a step change of their own. We've been building a solid research and policy base for a number of years, but it needs to grow and flourish if we are to become effective, authoritative, and influential in the profession and beyond it. Insight is a fundamental building block for our institute, yet it requires time and investment. By working with relevant and like-minded partners who want to be associated with our brand and who are prepared to invest money and resources in helping us to create and share excellent content, we are extending our capabilities and extending our reach in manageable, sustainable ways. This is good for our profession because it helps us create relevant insights for our members, and it's good for our brand because it helps us to influence our external environment by increasing our authority on matters including building better workplaces, building safety, and making a difference through social value and more. Improvements of this kind help prime us for our long-term goal of chartership and help us build a sustainable business. As we've heard, when I took over as chair, metaphorically, we have moved house. All of the big pieces of furniture in place, they were in the right rooms. 2019 had been about opening those little boxes and finding the right place for them to go, rewiring, renovating and filling in some of the inevitable gaps. We've been doing all of that with some rather turbulent weather outside. I'd say I've spent my first full year as a consolidator. I'm passionate that we stay focused on members' needs. I want everybody living in our new house to stay, and I want more people to come in, and I want them also to stay. One of the big rewiring jobs that I've been doing is to become an effective conduit between the board, which sets our strategic direction, and the executive team, which delivers that strategy. There are a number of formal committees who may seem unseen to the membership at large. They help the Institute to run and fulfil its legal and other duties. These are absolutely essential to IWFM's governance, reputation, and overall effectiveness. Through active ongoing engagements, I've clarified and strengthened the link between these boards and these vital committees. Better cohesion between these committees, the boards, and the executive team is already helping the Institute to operate more smoothly overall. Not only that, but it will help ensure those who volunteer to fulfill these crucial chair roles gain a deeper insight to where IWFM is going, how it plans to get there, and how we can all play a part in its success. Ultimately, I hope this will help to inspire other talented members to come forward as volunteers so that we can be a more inclusive and a more diverse organisation. I've been chairman for a little over a year now, but I've been an active volunteer for 8 years. I've seen a profound improvement in that time, both at the high level of strategic transformation, but also in the value that we offer to members. All businesses, all organisations need to be able to adapt and to grow, no matter how turbulent the weather outside. We're no different. The climate is tough for all membership organisations. Some might say professional bodies are a luxury in these trying times. We say the opposite is true, but we have to offer value for members, a reason to belong, a reason to stay. We have to be relevant and we have to be worthwhile. We are on a journey. IWFM has been founded on a serious opportunity and we have a solid plan. We're sticking to that plan. Our target remains chartership. That's what our members want, and everything we do is geared towards that long-term aim. And we're making progress. We're listening to members and fine-tuning our services to their needs like never before. We're growing our members at professional grades by attracting more, retaining more, and upgrading more. In 2017, 21% of new joiners were at professional grades. In 2019, that figure was 25%. So a different way to look at that, 2 years ago, 1 in 5 members joined at professional grade. Today, it's 1 in 4, and we're focused on increasing that number. As traditional income streams run dry, we're diversifying to fresh sources that are more aligned to our strategic aims, such as the insight partnerships and the products that support our professional development. I know Linda will want to say a lot more about that in her update. We're raising our voice beyond our traditional territory, so there can be no doubt that a chartered workplace and facilities profession is in the public's interests. Yes, we need to do more. Yes, there are headwinds, but as this year's annual review illustrates, we are well into that journey. I know we have the energy and commitment to continue to push boundaries and to be progressive into and beyond 2020. Before I hand over to CEO Linda House-Mannis for the business update, I'd really like to take questions from our virtual floor.
Hi everyone. Hi Martin, Linda. So just so everyone knows, I'm here taking the questions and I'll be putting these to the team. Just a couple of ones that are actually just more process in terms of the AGM, Martin. So we've had a question about the number of people that have tuned in today for today's AGM. So I can, from where I'm sitting here, I can tell you that 72 people are currently live on the webinar. So that's the number of people we have tuned in. But there was a question about naming the members who make this AGM quorate, and I wondered if you could just do that for us initially, Martin, and explain who's in the room with you there.
Yes. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Was it 72 members?
That's right, yeah.
So first of all, just wanted to say thank you to the 72 members. And in terms of the process for quorate, we needed to have 2 members here. And I would quite like them to also just confirm that that I'm speaking not necessarily on their behalf, but we have Sue Hills. Sue is obviously one of our current NEDs, and we have David Sharp as well.
And I can confirm I'm here.
Shout.
Sue Hills.
Shout.
Hello, it's Sue Hills. I'm here in the room.
And David Sharp also present.
Lovely, thank you, Martin. In terms of questions about the update there, one of the ones that come through was talking about the membership numbers and what they are currently today, if you were able to talk about that. And I'm sure, Linda, you might want to add to that as well.
Brilliant. So let me start by giving a brief summary, and I'm sure that Linda will elaborate further with some detail. So our rolling membership, I believe at the moment, is a little bit over 14,000, which I think that we've seen, it's fair to say, and just hitting the obvious question, we know that's been a slight decrease from previous years. But when we look at membership, I think that, and particularly as we look to the future, we actually see there's a number of reasons to be positive that I just really want to reiterate here. And I think the first is, and when we go back to the whole process that we went through around rebranding. When we looked at the profile of our overall members, what we saw is that we have an aging profile. So 75% of our members are aged between 45 and 70. So we really need to think about the context of our overall members and what type of a professional body we wanted to be for the future. When we think about our membership, we've really got to think about our strategies in 3 separate ways. The first is that we need to think about it in terms of how we attract new members. And one of the positives that I think that we've seen as a result of our rebranding is that it's actually opened us up to actually having new members coming into the Institute from avenues that we wouldn't have seen before. And we've certainly seen the benefits of that coming through in this year. It's also where we see the aspect in terms of retention. Now, retention and not keeping members has been a real keen focus of the Institute this year. And as a result of implementing what I think is some really good practices around membership engagement and membership retention, we've actually been increasing our members very heavily during 2020. And finally, the other aspect for membership is that of upgrading. And we've had more members this year actually upgrading the level of their membership than we've had in the previous year. So over 1,000 of our members have actually upgraded. And that really gives us a good insight that what we are doing is ensuring that we are relevant in terms of the professional levels that our members are expecting. Thank you for the question. Anything further that you would like to add to that, Linda?
No, not really. Thank you, Martin. I think, like all professional bodies, and I sort of sit on a forum of many CEOs across the whole spectrum of society, and membership numbers, is always a concern, and nobody likes to sort of lose their members. But the evidence is our professional membership is growing, and in this case, and we have known for a time that because of the demographic time bomb, I think, which was first phrased probably about 6-7 years ago, most professional bodies are facing that sort of same issue, and life is changing at a rapid rate, society is changing at rapid rates, and institutes also need to sort of change at a rapid rate to make sure they're relevant for today's professional individual. So much work is going on, and we will continue that certainly in sort of 2021.
Just to add to that, one of the questions that came in was about circulation figures of the magazine, which I think I can probably help with on that one, because it's just about the difference between the numbers that you've just talked about there, Martin, and the magazine circulation figures. So it's just important to note the ABC certificate, which is something that was published this week, is the number of magazines that we print and circulate. Is actually 11,500, so it was quoted as being 10.5, which is a bit short than what the actual number is. But also worth bearing in mind, it doesn't include people who don't receive the magazine because they don't want to receive it in the mail, and anyone that hasn't got an address, it won't pick that up either. So that's why there's sometimes a discrepancy between those numbers. So I just wanted to explain that. One other question, Martin, is that we talk about professional members an awful lot. Is it worth just explaining what we mean by professional member? Because whilst it might be obvious to us in terms of the grades, to everyone else, it might not be immediately obvious. So maybe just a bit of explanation about that.
So we obviously have a hierarchy of grading systems, which go right from an associate to a fellow, and the level that we are really focusing on heavily at the moment is one of certified. So I don't know if there's more that you'd like to elaborate on that, Linda.
No, I say when we sort of talk about professional grades, we're talking about associate, member, certified fellow, which attract post-nominals and invariably are attached to a professional qualification. And I say, and our focus going forward will be on the certified grade, certainly for our sort of chartership aims, etc. Yeah, that's what we deem as a professional member. Obviously, from a member's voting perspective, it is people who are at member grades and above. Okay, Chris.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just to explain to people online as well, there's some questions coming through, but we're probably going to cover some of them off in Linda's update. So if we haven't asked your question specifically right now, I have flagged them to pick up later on as well. But for the time being, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for your questions. Okay. So good afternoon and welcome everyone. It's a great shame that we sort of can't be all in a room together, etc. It just seems really odd presenting in this way, but it's probably a life we've all got used to over the last 6 months, just staring at a screen. So anyway, at the launch of Iwfm in November 2018, when we revealed the teal, we published our priorities for 2019 in a 10-point plan. Those priorities were underpinned by a comprehensive 3-year business plan, and it's a pretty solid list. When I showed this slide at last year's AGM, I was certain then that we wouldn't deliver everything that it contained, but we would definitely start everything in it, because it was a summary of all of our priorities. Every one of its 10 points helps us advance one or more of our strategic aims. So how did we do? In a very challenging trading year, I think we did okay. In fact, I think we probably did more than okay. We've taken a bite out of everything in this plan. Some items we have completed, others require longer term integrated thinking. Having come out of the other side of 2019, I can also see that there was so much more that we could have put into this plan, and indeed so much more that we have achieved and is represented here. But goals are good. Today is about pulling the focus back a bit. You'll have seen from our annual review just how active the Institute as a whole has been in 2019 and through to this present time. Not only in terms of the activity driven by the team at head office, but fundamentally activity that has been originated by our vibrant professional community. I hope you've all had an opportunity to explore it. I'd like to spend a few minutes drawing out what I think have been the real highlights of the year, as we have remained steadfastly focused on achieving our strategic aims. One area where we made a key transition in 2019 is the way we work with partners. I want to say a bit more about why that matters, because it goes to the roots of who we are as Iwfm. As Martin has said, the commercial times, well, they are a-changing. As our members professionalise, your expectations of what is wanted from a modern professional body are changing too. We have intentionally repurposed our institute to help reposition the facilities profession to realise its very real opportunity and be fit for the 21st century world of work. And we have seen that no more starkly than in the experience of the last 7 months. And as the number of professional members grow, you are telling us what you want from us. You join us for insight, guidance, influence, innovative ideas, development and networking. That's what you value from your membership. There's another reason why partnering is good. We know that the business climate is tough and unremitting. We've seen a change in the sentiment towards spending from our customers during 2019 as a Brexit uncertainty, and which continues today, affected confidence. We felt it directly when it came to sponsorships for our flagship awards last year, as firms, shy of appearing frivolous or flash, hesitated when it came to committing even half of the amounts that previously would have been rolled over without question. Partnering with organisations who share our curiosity about the future of work, our desire for a more sustainable world, or who want to tap into our expertise to develop specific guidance on heating controls or waste treatment, helps us to produce quality, accessible content faster. It adds value to the membership offer, and it extends our reach and our brand. We made an excellent start in 2019, partnering with names here, and we have continued that into 2020. Our first aim is to be the recognised, trusted voice of a distinct profession. This aim encapsulates the Iwfm vision, and it speaks to our longer-term chartership aim. We began 2019 as a new organisation, and since then we have been focused on finding and raising our voice. We have engaged with a wide range of stakeholders, including government agencies, think tanks, business groups and more. We have leveraged that expertise, insight and analysis of our members and others to press for better standards, achieve better outcomes and better inform our profession, strengthen its authority, influence and impact. In January, a new marketing strategy set a course for us to focus on professionalism for chartership ambitions. In February, we partnered with the Telegraph business reporter and the Times raconteur for special features on future workplace, the role of the workplace professional, and technology. In March, as a Women in FM SIG chaired by Nikki Lathbury, and separately the London region chaired by Jason Cousins, held conferences. We rolled out new tone of voice guidance to help us all speak with one voice and rebranded our IWFM direct offering and brought it into the main website. The second quarter began with the first IWFM national conference in April. For the first time, the entire agenda was outward looking, bringing leadership and challenge from beyond our profession, and as was echoed only last week by Dave Coplin at our conference. In May, we marked World FM Day, where the theme was celebrating global FM standards. At the Global FM Awards that month, IWFM 2018 awards winner, Innovation Gateway, took the top accolade. Meanwhile, a school in North London was the setting for our Career of Choice campaign video, aimed at making workplace and FM a career of choice, not of chance. In June, we debuted our brand at the Facility Show with an interactive mega stand and wellbeing wall, just days before holding our first AGM as IWFM. In July, we announced 45 finalists for the first official IWFM Awards and released the first of 5 animated video shorts highlighting key insights from our conference. In August, we responded to Dame Judith Hackett's post-Grenfell report, Building a Safer Future. We drew breath in September as we gathered ourselves for the run-up to the IWFM Awards ceremony in October and celebrated as a rebranded Facilitate magazine won Best in Class at the Association Awards. And I am thrilled to hear that Martin Reed has just become Editor of the Year at 2020 MEMCOM Awards. Martin, congratulations. I know you're online, so huge congratulations to you. In November, we celebrated Workplace Week by announcing a new venture with Microsoft to explore the opportunities from smart workplaces. Meanwhile, Sandy McNaughton's Scotland Conference explored the workplace opportunity. We also launched our 2020 conference that month, somewhat presently titled Navigating Turbulent Times. We unveiled our refreshed website in December, as we also announced that our partnership with Good Relations PR agency would help us to amplify our voice yet further during 2020. Our second strategic aim is to be the first choice destination for workplace and facilities management research, information and debate. Last year saw our most ambitious research and insight programme to date. We published our first market outlook report, our annual pay and prospect survey, and our 14th sustainability report. And we began to carve out more new forward-looking insight themes, technology, the future of work, and well-being. We began to align what we call our knowledge products. That is guidance, good practice guides, quick guides, webinars, and reference documents to the IWFM development pathway, especially in the emerging discipline of workplace management. With members' needs at heart, we have continued to develop and deliver practical guidance and join them up with short courses delivered wherever possible by our academy. I have talked about partnering, and 2019 saw the first outcomes of our relationship with business development partner B2B partnerships, including content-led collaborations with Ricoh, Microsoft and Reconomy. Our endeavours did not stop there. We consolidated our work on technology into a new special interest group. The new Technology SIG, chaired by Paul Thomas, reflects the all-encompassing relevance of this area. And we keep moving forward. The Technology SIG began life as a working group. And we have 2 new working groups that came forward last year, Customer Experience, chaired by Jamie McDonald, and Manufacturing, chaired by Andy Candelant. We've recognised excellence in customer experience for several years at our awards. It's core to workplace experience. Yet it's still unusual to see FM held up as an example of customer experience beyond the sector. I hope COVID-19 has changed that, and I know the work of this group certainly will. When it comes to manufacturing, it's easy to think of the UK as no longer a manufacturing nation. However, this sector remains the 9th largest in the world. Not only does that translate to a lot of workplaces, the sector is often at the forefront of UK research and development, including new technologies. Aim 3 is to foster a vibrant, accessible, engaged community for peer-to-peer learning, sharing best practice and networking. We've already discussed a range of activity where regions and SIGs have been instrumental across all of our key focus areas. 4 conferences, the legendary North Ball, plus a whole range of regional events throughout our community are set across a double-page spread of our annual review. Yet they represent only the tip of the iceberg of the extent of activity in the IWFM community last year. Discussion, debate, roundtables, case study visits, sharing best practice and networking. In May, a number of volunteers, namely Mark Whitaker, Laura Birnbaum, and Chris Jeffers, saluted the profession by delivering a number of activity-based workshops in schools across the country. The Career of Choice Activity Pack and guidance is aimed at encouraging volunteers to use their experience to inspire the next generation of workplace and facilities managers. Later in the summer, we launched a review of our community groups with the aim of improving the effectiveness of our volunteer network, recognising its critical importance to the Institute life and, crucially, to ensure that we can create an excellent member experience wherever our members are located. In December, we launched a new membership handbook where members can explore the professional standards, learn more about membership progression opportunities, discover our Insights Hub, and learn more about volunteering. Last, but by no means least, our 4th strategic aim is to be the first choice development partner for individuals and organisations. Apologies for that. Professional development and its continuation, CPD, is at the core of our mission. We have begun revising core elements of our proposition with the professional standards being centre stage. During 2019, we further enhanced our learning portfolio. In addition to introducing new academy courses, face-to-face and online, we developed and launched a new workplace leadership diploma and have extended opportunities for apprenticeships. We have supported the professional community while it develops new skills and recognised achievement along the way. The most significant development has been to build a unique platform for workplace learning and development. The first part was the expansion of the Workplace Leadership Programme introduced in 2018. 4 new academy courses to complement the foundation programme are designed to teach professionals how to utilise a workplace advantage and bring it to the heart of the organisations they support. Our Creating Better Workplaces partnership with RICO has enabled the creation of a suite of companion guides that support that programme. Then in November, we enrolled 60 learners in a new Level 6 diploma in Workplace Leadership, Insight and Change, a world-first degree-level qualification which represents a comprehensive standard of attainment in workplace to support a strategic shift to smarter ways of working. This is a significant development for helping define the workplace specialism and is a key milestone in support of our aspiration to become a chartered professional body. It's vitally important for our profession that we have these high-level opportunities, but with the skills gap all too apparent, it's crucial also that entry-level options exist too. We learned from the Outlook report that a lack of skilled workers remained a concern, but that apprenticeships were seen as a positive factor in the market, although uptake is significantly higher in the public sector. Apprenticeships have a key role to play in addressing the skills gap in our sector, and we continue to push them. Whilst actively lobbying for reform to the apprenticeship levy, I was thrilled in April when the Level 2 Facilities Services Operative Apprenticeship provided a crucial entry-level pathway into the profession. In July, the first Level 3 Facilities Supervisors Apprenticeships were awarded. We have been an endpoint assessment organisation for Level 3 since 2007, and in November last year, the Institute became an endpoint assessment organisation for Levels 2 and Level 4 Facilities Management, apprenticeships, having been part of the trailblazer groups for those standards. If 2018 was about technological overhaul and transforming the way we work, as I hope we have shown you, 2019 was a year of consolidation. Having furthered our technological capabilities, we've made it easier and more secure to do business with us by going paperless wherever we can. We've completed the rebrand and introduced a new integrated event management system, helping us to understand customer behaviour better. Our spend minimally, act sustainably refurbishment using upcycled furniture improved our Leesman workplace effectiveness score by 30%, placing us in the elite category. It was also a necessary practice run for the mass remote working that we needed in 2020. As custodians of the workplace, we thought it made sense for us actually to walk the talk. We listened a lot to members last year and sharpened our focus on value, retention and growth, including holding membership fees at 2019 levels throughout 2020. We'll keep listening and focusing on value. And I thank every one of you who took part in our biggest ever membership survey recently. We'll use that insight to continue to improve the service that we provide to you. I thank you all, and I hope that we have shown in the annual review and by the presentation today that the money that, that we collect from the subscriptions goes towards providing value for your membership. Thank you. Now we are going back to Chris for any questions, Chris.
Hi, yeah, so a couple have come through, and as always, keep them coming as we go. I can pick them up live. So there's two questions that, about membership communities, about different pockets of the membership that I think can be combined into one. One talks to, it was more of a comment, but in terms of how we can address it as a bit of a question. It was talking about this idea that if there's a focus on professional grades, then what are we doing about the grades that sit outside of that, and it's being key not to ignore them. So talking about how we see that those community those membership grades in the wider context. And equally, there's been a question about what we are doing for fellows as a specific group there.
Okay, I'll start with the first question, Chris. Obviously, I remember this question being raised just after the 1st of March 2018 when we launched our manifesto for change. This institute has always been and will always be totally inclusive. So everybody will always find a home with us. So when we talk about professional grades, yes, there will be professional grades as you see in all other professional bodies, which invariably, because it shows a progression. And one of the criteria for chartership is that the majority of our members should be either at certified or be working towards it. And we know that there will be individuals within the industry who want to be part of the institute, and they will always therefore have a member grade of a professional body. But the idea is that we provide opportunities and an aspiration for everybody to aspire to become CIWFM, and that is the work that will commence in earnest next year. Regarding the second question, remind me, Chris, the second question?
Fellows, sorry, and what we're doing for the fellows at the Institute.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as you know, Chris, part of our communities review is to look at the whole fellowship offering, because to me, they are our thought leaders and should be a conduit, sort of providing that rich insight to make sure that we are providing a strong strategic direction for all members, gathering that insight, making sure that we have representation across all the specialisms. And when you think about the work that we will need to undertake, and I don't want to go into the 2021 AGM speech to talk about 2020, I say, but we know the world is changing, the world of work is changing, and therefore I will be looking to that group to provide that rich insight that they have to feed into the many research projects that we will have on all the various work streams towards chartership. And I don't know whether, Chris, you've got anything more to say following up from obviously the work that you're doing on the community's review, but it's a very valued, group of individuals that we have, and as I say, and we're seeing them grow in numbers like never before.
Yeah, so as Linda's alluded to, fellows are a really critical group of members for a number of different reasons, and we're looking at, as part of a wider review of our membership proposition, what does it mean to be a fellow, and how does that role sit within the institute? So we've been looking for a while now, and we would like to have been a bit further along from where we are at the moment, but we are looking at how we can refocus the fellowship proposition and how it connects into other parts of the business, as you mentioned there, Linda. But that is a current project at the moment. We're working with some fellows from the membership to help us shape that proposition, and we hope to start communicating some updates on that in the coming months to let fellows know where we're taking it.
Yeah, I think I can just pick up on that, Chris. I mean, a lot of questions about chartership invariably are raised, etc. And I say we know what the criteria is, but hopefully what you would have seen in sort of the 2019, so 2017 and 2018 was predominantly name change, rebrand, getting sort of the technological foundations in place for us to sort of grow. Last year was obviously Brexit, and this year has been COVID. And who knows what 2021 is going to be? But every single activity that we are doing in the institute, and there will now be a number of work streams to make sure that we are going. Everything is a step towards meeting that criteria to become a chartered body, which obviously will then go to members to vote before we can even sort of make the application. But that's why I see the fellows playing a key role going forward. I think since I've been CEO, my focus has been sort of very much not internally, but about sort of repositioning the institute, and now going forward, well, hopefully when I'm sort of allowed out the doors, there must be greater engagement with all of our communities, especially our amazing volunteers.
Great, thank you. And there was there's a specific question with member grade breakdown. So I'm just going to cover that quickly because I've got the numbers in front of me here. So the question was, what does our total membership look like in terms of breakdown by grades? So looking at 2019's figures, 9% of our membership were learners, 19% were corporates and their nominees that are within those corporates. Affiliates were 21%. Associates 6%, members 35%, certified 10%, and fellows are 1%. Just to sort of give you a bit of an idea of what we've been talking about before in terms of the professional grades and what Linda was talking about earlier on, that would mean that 51% of our current of our 2019 membership were in graded membership. And if you look at 2020's numbers, just to give people a bit of an idea, pretty much the same constitution in terms of member breakdown. Maybe in some grades there's a 1% difference, but generally speaking that's remained consistent. There are a couple of questions around finances, but I know that's the next the next section we've got. Just reading some that have just come through now, so just bear with me a second. Yeah, that's what sort of finances again. So for people that have asked some questions around finances, we'll pick that up on just after Paul's talk there when we look through the finances, but for the time being I think that's us.
Wonderful, thanks Chris. I'm going to now hand over to Paul Ash, who's the chair of our finance committee at NED, who's going to give the finance update. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Linda. Well, our 2019 financial performance. In a year of macroeconomic uncertainty, overall revenues were down, but only by 3%, with awards sponsorship and membership income being the main contributors. The former was affected by firms' reticence to commit to visible discretionary expenditure while Brexit remained an issue. We expected a drop in membership income after a reduction of around 400 members from our biggest membership client. and the same uncertain trading conditions affected both acquisition and retention, where an overall reluctance to spend meant that those retiring or otherwise leaving the sector could not be replaced at the required rate. We repositioned the Institute in 2018 in part to address this structural challenge. 2019 saw a concerted focus both on membership retention and acquisition, with a result by the turn of the year of stabilisation and a proportionate increase in members at professional grades, in line with the IWFM vision. A long-term aim has been to grow income from non-membership sources. The offset has seen strong performance in IWFM Direct, our online learning solution, and IWFM Academy, our short course offering. As a revenue generator, Direct has been very successful for IWFM, growing steadily with 19% growth in the year, as 2019 actuals finished £73,000 higher than in 2018. The success of the Academy training proposition continued into 2019, with revenue increasing by 35% compared to 2018 across both the individual face-to-face courses and in-house training coursing offerings. Elsewhere, plans to develop Insight partnerships to fund our Insight program got underway with the RICO arrangement. Operating costs were 5% down on the prior year, a reversion following the one-off cost incurred in 2018 for the rebrand and name change. While the implementation of a new website at the end of 2018 led to an increase in this year's depreciation charge because it included the first full year of the new website's depreciation cost. In recent years, we've invested heavily in our IT infrastructure and the repositioning of our institute. The contents of this review of the IWFM's first full year show the quality of our intent in the extent of our activities. We've set a solid foundation for growth. Our cash and net assets positions are stable, with a focus to grow these over the coming years. As we deliver on our mission to empower and enable workplace and facilities management professionals to reach their full potential through professional development, we have created the conditions for IWFM to succeed for many years to come. I'd be very happy to answer any questions. I know Chris, I think he said, already had a few. And in course of any detailed questions you may have, we can also answer those offline at a later date.
Thank you, Paul. In terms of the finances, there's a few questions that have come in. Actually, some came in sort of earlier on in the session, as I explained earlier. Let me just go back to them. So there's a question that's been asked in terms of what steps are being taken to ensure that the recent losses are reversed, and how long will the reserves last on the current plan? So I guess that's a two-pronged question, in the sense that the financial element of that, you know, in terms of the financial stability, but also our growth aspirations and our business performance bits, which I think, Linda, you might want to talk to as well.
I'll just talk from a cash position first of all. Cash reserves remain strong and available. They've been available through all of the turbulence that we've seen in 2020 to see us to this point. Linda, I think you'll probably want to talk about some of the opportunities that we have taken to maintain reduce and maintain our costs, and also take advantage of any help that's been there from the government on this as well.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, from a business perspective, 2020 has been challenging. I think it's been challenging for all businesses. We continue to monitor all finances, both income and expenditure, tightly. We have a special sort of finance committee sort of made up of executive members and members of the board to have that additional scrutiny of the finances during this time. And we have a 3-year business plan, and that is monitored and reviewed regularly to ensure it's apt and that we are on track. To say that we have had trading difficulty last year and continue this year is no understatement. But our products and services, and that certainly is reflected by, one, the messages I'm getting by CEOs of businesses that I engage with, certainly by the outcome of the survey that we have just received from our members, is one of strong support for the Institute. And therefore we are in a strong position, but we are not complacent, and every day we will fight on, and we will fight on to continue to support this wonderful profession. And we do it with absolute financial probity and rigour in monitoring our costs, etc. This year, obviously the government has made available certain solutions for businesses, whether it's VAT, PAYE, bounce back loans, CBILS, etc. The Institute has availed itself of VAT and PAYE payment plans, and we have had to do financial forecasting, which takes us up until the autumn of next year. And obviously, like all good businesses, good practices, what if? And we also have been approved for a CBILS facility through our bank, should we want it. We have not had the need to use it at this moment, I say, because we continue to have a very, very, very strong hold on our finances. And I say, and one thing I'm extremely proud of is that in this very, very difficult time, we have, I think, produced more content and been more relevant and more visible and more there for our members than in any other parts of our history. On a sort of very, very, very small team here, I've only got 44 members of staff. We furloughed no more than 10% of staff during this time. And I thank the board and Paul particularly for helping us with Paul's expertise in ensuring that we've got that financial rigour and independence from the executive team to ensure that we are applying stringent rigour to managing our finances. And I thank the team here also for their diligence in not spending and keeping tight controls on everything.
If I can just add to what Linda said on the coronavirus business interruption loan, it was a full coronavirus business interruption loan that we've got approval for, not the bounce back loan, which is the one that's easy to get and or was easy to get. I think it's just about to expire. The government's offering on that, which requires, the one that we've been approved for requires full bank credit approval. So we have to go through that full rigour, which I think indicates how strong our finances are, and as well as our business model. And the thing that really impressed me was the way that we've been very quicker than I would say most of the people in the market, to get our courses into an online format and to continue the revenue coming in on that basis, and indeed continuing to deliver services to our members.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Linda. I think the only other sorry, just a question coming here as well. So there's a few questions in sort of a recognition that this is about the 2019 performance, but also kind of struggling to ignore what everyone's going through at the moment. And Linda, you've touched on a number of the things that we've done from a financial point of view, but in terms of what Paul's just hinted at as well, there's a couple of questions in and around how our products and services have had to adjust, and therefore the sort of the overall structure of where the organisation gets its income from, being affected, particularly things like, and what's mentioned here, the awards, which is obviously a big financial boost for the organisation on a yearly basis, obviously can't happen in the same way. So do you want to talk about a little bit about how we are safeguarding the health of the organisation with that in mind, with some of the things we're doing to protect revenue in this tricky period.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, this is about 2019, obviously, and we're talking about going into 2021 and talking about the 2020 AGM. We have had to pivot, and it is all credit, I say, to this team here, because obviously there are sort of 3 areas. If you go back to sort of March this year, there were 3 areas where we were at risk. One was a conference, one was the awards, and one was training. All are face-to-face interactions. And we have, and obviously we've got 1 to go. So we've pivoted the training to online virtual. We've obviously today the AGM has been delivered in this style. Our conference last week, a full week, fantastic content again. And our awards will be different, and it is. We know the awards has historically been a revenue generator for Iwfm, now Iwfm. But we have known also for the past couple of years, as has been identified today, the marketplace has changed, where the large companies are reticent to say start splashing the cash for events such as that. As we had that last year, they want to have tables, but they don't want to do the big sponsorship, which historically was the model of operating. So we as an institute have to be continually working with organisations to find the appetite, to find out what's the economic drivers, etc., for business, because at the end of the day, we're all in a supply chain here, and we will be affected by whatever headwinds are out there, and affecting all sectors of the industry, which will affect sponsorship, will affect people who are going on a course, which will affect somebody during a qualification, etc. You have to understand the business drivers for all industries, because we will be affected, and therefore we have to adapt our model. There are things that we have not invested in sort of 2019, and because obviously the Brexit debate, and this year with COVID, so things that we wanted to do to drive more value for our membership. But like all these things, they require. Sorry, I'm looking over there at Spot. Apologies, I'm sort of looking down there at the big blue spot on the ground. I do apologise. Because there are people there. So it is difficult, because we have had to sort of flex, what we would like to deliver. I mean, Chris talked about the communities review and some of the exciting initiatives we have. All of these things require investment, and we will not spend money which we have not got.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to big revenue earners like the conference and particularly the awards, it's been about retaining IP and the value of that IP, so that we can, to use the Chancellor's phrase, bounce back in 2021, better and stronger than ever. We have, clearly saved a lot of costs on both those 2 events in terms of not holding them physically. So I think that, given all of the circumstances, the team here have done extremely well to deliver on both of those events and retain value.
And I think it's safe to say that events like the awards, they are absolutely key critical for the recognition of individuals, teams, organisations, projects in this amazing profession. But the financial model will have to reflect whatever the new world will look like. So we have to keep abreast of that. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys. I think a few more questions here. One thing we should probably have said as well, if we can't cover every single specific question, we will do follow-ups for people as well, to make sure that we tie the close the loop on those as well. But that seems to be it for the time being.
Lovely. Thanks, Chris. I have to go back to Martin.
Now we come to the formal part of our AGM, the resolution voting. As we are virtual this time, I'll briefly recap the process. Everyone will have received an email with a link to today's webinar. You may already have voted, in which case, thank you, you can relax. However, if you've not yet voted and you are eligible to vote, your email will contain a voting link button, which contains your unique voting code. As you know, only those members with a grade of member or above are eligible to vote on the resolutions, which will appear on the next slide. So if you're eligible and you haven't voted yet, here's what you need to do. Go to the email that you've received from UK Engage on Monday, the 28th of September. It's the same one that you'd have used to register for this webinar. Open the voting platform by clicking the button to vote and cast your vote. At the end of the resolutions, the voting platform will close. The results will be announced at the end of the AGM once the votes have been verified and tallied with the online votes. I will now read through the resolutions to give you time to vote. For each resolution, you can agree, disagree, or abstain. Resolution 1, to approve the minutes of the 2019 Annual General Meeting. Resolution 2, to receive the report and the audited accounts for the year ending 31st of December 2019. And Resolution 3, to reappoint Kingston Smith LLP as auditors to the Institute and to authorise the board to determine their remuneration. Please now vote. This would be the point where I would normally say something spontaneous, witty and funny. However, we don't have time. So I will instead thank UK Engage for acting as our independent scrutineers today. Their responsibility is to ensure that our process is appropriate and legal. They will tally and validate the votes taken during the meeting with the online votes already cast. The final results will be advised at the end of this meeting. This voting platform will now be closed. Thank you. And now, on to the board appointments. One of the great things about our institute is that our members have the opportunity to vote for 7 non-executive director positions, each for a 3-year term with an option, if deemed by membership, to extend those terms by a further 3 years. These independent appointments ensure transparency and probity in our governance. Ultimately, it gives our members the chance to ensure that the board maintains the diversity and the capability that our profession demands. It was very encouraging to see we have so much engagement from high caliber members showing an interest in taking these positions on. Before I announce the results of the 2020 election, I'd like to thank the outgoing non-executive directors who've served the Institute with such dedication, commitment and insights. On behalf of Iwfm, our thanks for your role as ambassadors on the board go to Lisa Hoffman, who has served a single term, to Lucy Black and Keith Waterman for 6 years service, and additionally to acknowledge Keith's service as Deputy Chair. It has been a privilege to work with all of you. We hope you'll continue to play an active role in the life of the Institute. And Lisa, we know you hate being the odd one out, so we look forward to receiving your fellowship application in due course. This year, there were 3 non-executive director or NED positions available. I'm delighted to confirm that Andrew Holbert joins the board for the first time. Welcome, Andrew. Congratulations. As our youngest fellow, I hope Andrew will not mind me saying that he also becomes our youngest NED. As we are in pursuit of diversity in all its forms, this is something to celebrate. Sue Hills and Michael Kenny are each re-elected to a further 3-year term. Congratulations, both of you. Welcome back. This is where I'd like to acknowledge our members who've reached the prestigious status of fellow. Before I run through the names of our newest fellows, I think it's worth noting that this is the largest number of fellowship awards we've given in any single AGM to AGM period, even allowing for a slightly extended year this time. It's been nearly 100% increase. In order of attainment, they are Anthony Wiltshire, Musa Abdul Qader, Stephen Roots, Honorary Fellow, Stephen Beadle, David Woofenden, Neju Anselm, Jonathan Face, Oren Gershon, Sean Watson, Simone Fenton-Jarvis, Paul Bean, Sarah Momtaz, Keith Waterman, Anthony Wilkinson, Stuart Byers, Scott Stevens, David Guppy, Joanna Lamprell, Tony Martin, Mick Dalton, and Mark Hughes. Congratulations to all of you. I look forward to a time when I congratulate you all in person. And now for the results of today's resolutions. I reiterate my thanks to UK Engage, our independent scrutineers. I'd now like to invite Craig Poisner of UK Engage to announce the results. Over to you, please, Craig.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the votes have now been verified, and I can confirm the total number of votes received for each resolution is as follows. For Resolution 1, to approve the minutes of the IWFM 2019 Annual General Meeting, the votes cast for were 205, against 1, and abstain 18. Resolution 2, to receive the reports of the board and the audited accounts for the year ended 31st December 2019. The votes for were 209, against 1, and there's 14 abstains. Resolution 3, to reappoint Kingston Smith LLP as auditors to the Institute and to authorise the board to determine their remuneration. For 206, against 4, and abstain 14. Therefore, all resolutions have received the required number of votes and are declared as passed.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Craig. This now brings us to the formal close of proceedings. On behalf of Linda and myself and everybody at IWFM, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Thank you to everyone who's asked questions. We will look through all of the questions again and post any answers to questions that we haven't answered yet on the website, and to those that we didn't get to during this session. So do look at the website, because we're really keen to engage you with and respond to you on all of those. Stay safe, and here's hoping that we can meet again in person for next year's 2021 AGM. Goodbye.
Bye.